The crossroads to pay attention to the most are the ones that mean something to you about you. I am talking about choices that are linked to identity, an action that means something to you about who you are or who it is you want to become.
Welcome to Breakthrough Mode, the podcast where we intentionally get into the driver's seat of our lives, shift out of monotony and mediocrity, and step on the gas towards becoming the person we were always meant to become.
Hello, and welcome to Wednesday in the Wild on the Breakthrough Mode podcast. I am your host, Megan Bauer. Thank you so much for joining me and pushing play on today's episode. This week, we are focused on doing it on purpose, being you on purpose, stepping into who you are meant to become on purpose. This means that we're not acting out of default or out of reaction or out of response or out of habit if it hasn't been intentionally established for you. Not like the random habits that we pick up but don't actually want and don't actually mean to have. Those we tend to term like bad habits. We're talking about the habits that are actually supportive to who you are and who it is you want to become. Doing it on purpose. Now, in Monday's episode, I referenced this idea of a crossroads several times and making an intentional choice when you are at that crossroads. And so today I wanted to chat a little bit about what I mean by crossroads and then give you some examples of crossroads that I experience in my life to give you an understanding of what I'm really talking about here for crossroads. So, all of the time, we have all of the choices, right? Like, I had a choice to sit down right now and record this podcast, or I had a choice to do something else, or I even have a choice right now on staying on topic or getting off of topic, right? We are at a crossroads of choice all of the time. Am I going to do this or this? And most of the time, because we are living out of reaction or response or default, we don't even notice that we have multiple options and we are choosing one of them, right? Even when you have to go to the bathroom really bad, we mostly act out of response. Like, I've got to get to the bathroom right now. It feels like the only choice. It feels like the only option. But you have other choices. You can choose otherwise should you want to. And sometimes we do. Sometimes you're like, but I got to send this email real quick and before I go, or I've got to, do this or that or whatever. So we do make choices out of response and out of urgency or importance or false urgency even. We are at a crossroads all the time. And not every crossroads is important. The crossroads that we're talking about this week is an option of choosing something that represents who it is you are now and who it is you want to become, or a choice that is not in alignment with who you are versus a choice that is in alignment with who you are. So that would be like people pleasing or standing up for yourself or doing something out of obligation or saying no because you don't have the capacity or the time or the energy or even the desire to fulfill whatever the request is. So you can take this either way. You can lean more into who you truly are and act in alignment with who you are, or you can choose to step into the next version of yourself, who it is you want to become, by making these intentional choices when you find yourself at these crossroads. Not everything is important. Not everything is a critical crossroads between who it is you are and who you want to become, or what's out of alignment with who you are or in alignment with who you are. And so you may need to consider when those crossroads are in your life and when you might encounter them. The crossroads to pay attention to the most are the ones that mean something to you about you. I am talking about choices that are linked to identity, an action that means something to you about who you are or who it is you want to become. So, for a long time, I wanted to be that version of me who got up early. That was a daily crossroads. Did I get up early or did I not? And for a long time, I didn't. Most of my life, I didn't. And that represented an identity crossroads for me. Was I being this version of me that I wanted to be, or was I not? For some people, that's not an identity crossroads. They don't care about getting up early, and that's fine. There are some things that are crossroads for other people that don't mean anything to me. There are people who would make an identity type statement about themselves if they ate a second cupcake. I ate a second cupcake at my nephew's birthday party this past weekend, and I didn't make it mean anything about me. I just ate the cupcake because I wanted it. And so, not every choice is going to mean something about your identity. Another example of a crossroads for me is what I mentioned before about getting up early. Right now in my life, it feels a little crazy as we've gotten the house ready to sell and the girls have been out of school and there's been so much and there has been so much going on. So I have been at the crossroads of, do I get up early? I am so exhausted. I am so tired from running all day, from doing all the things, from scheduling this and cleaning that and making sure this gets done and packing this and all of the things. Do I get up early? And honestly, this month, I have probably slept in more than I have in a very long time simply out of exhaustion. And I had this moment where I came to myself and I was like, look, Megan, what are we doing here? Who are we being? Who do you want to be? And it was a time to recommit, rededicate myself. Even though I only missed a handful of days, I didn't want to start the habit of sleeping in. I wanted to continue to be that version of me who gets up early. And so that has been a crossroads where I have chosen one way or the other. Another crossroads that I have been experiencing in the midst of all of this chaos is, do I record the podcast or do I not? Just moments before I sat here and got my camera all ready and everything, I was like, do I even want to do this? Do I want to? And in thinking about not doing it and not being that person, and in thinking about who I wanted to be, that commitment that I made to myself and to my listeners that I would be there on Wednesday, I would have a new episode on Wednesday. That is an identity choice. Do I want to be that version of me who does show up when she says she's going to show up? And the answer to that question is yes. Yes. So of course I'm here. Of course I'm recording the thing. Of course I'm going to edit the thing and I'm going to schedule the thing and it will be published because that is an identity crossroads to me. It might not be for somebody else, but this was an identity choice for me. And that's what we're talking about. And then as I was writing down examples of this one came to me because it seems small and it makes a big impact. So this crossroads is a little bit more abstract to describe. But what I'm talking about here is when I'm in a situation in which I feel like I am losing my emotional stability. Maybe I'm going into worry, or maybe I'm going into fear, or maybe I'm going into anger or irritability. And I find myself at this very quiet, very subtle crossroads of excusing myself to take a few minutes to emotionally recenter myself. So sometimes that looks like, oh, I left something in the car. Or sometimes that looks like I have to go to the bathroom. Or sometimes that looks like I left something downstairs. Or I need to take a walk. Or whatever is appropriate for the situation. But removing myself long enough to take some deep breaths, maybe do some tapping, maybe connect to my heart and recenter, but giving myself the time and the space to get out of a place of response and reaction where I can then behave intentionally. This is a subtle one and a really powerful one. The crossroads is, do I excuse myself? Do I remove myself from the situation long enough to do that, to recenter, to put myself in a place of intentional responses and intentional behavior, not just knee jerk reactions, especially when I have emotions rising in me and I'm feeling some sort of way. And I know that acting out of those emotions isn't going to be the thing that I actually want. So, those are a few examples of these crossroads in my life. Some things are going to be crossroads to you that aren't to me, and my crossroads may not be your crossroads, but you will be able to recognize these as something that you see as an indicator of identity, of who you are being, of who you are becoming. These are identity based choices. Not necessarily, are you going to finish the email or go to the bathroom right now? It is a choice that means something to you. As you go throughout the rest of your day and the rest of this week, I hope you start to recognize what these crossroads are for you. These, should I do this or should I do this? I hope you start to see them as an opportunity to choose who you are going to be in that moment, whether it is aligning more fully with who you currently are, or whether it is stepping into that next version of you who you want to become. This is a moment of intentional choice. And I hope you start to recognize them, because once you recognize them, then you're giving yourself the power with awareness to be able to make an intentional choice. That doesn't necessarily mean that you always will make the intentional choice, but it gives you the opportunity to. And without seeing it, without the awareness, then you don't even have that opportunity. You need to create that opportunity for yourself first, and then you can really do something with it. But if you don't even see it as an opportunity, it's going to be hard for you to do anything with it. You're going to be stuck in habits, in reaction, in response, in default. And the idea is to get you out of default so that you can intentionally choose what to do next. Thank you so much for joining me today. I totally love you. Bye for now.